Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a model line that launched in 1999. This, in white gold at 40 millimeters in diameter, is the Ulysse Nardin GMT Plus Minus Perpetual. It is a GMT with an ingenious system that first debuted on the San Marcos series in 1994 with the bidirectional Ludwig-Oxlin Perpetual Calendar mechanism. So the watch in white gold is 40 millimeters in diameter. It's 13.1 millimeters thick, and it's 47.7 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now you can see on my wrist the watch is 16 centimeters in circumference bound. My wrist of 16 centimeters is a good model for the watch because this is a good size for me. And you can see that the watch is thin. With a domed bezel, it will fit underneath a cuff. I would recommend it for wrists as small as 14 centimeters circumference because of the relatively short 47.7 millimeter lug-to-lug dimension, and it is sufficiently sloped and domed on its top to fit underneath a dress cuff. This is a sporty dress watch, but a dress watch all the same. As you can see here, we have a Ulysse Nardin factory strap in brand new condition with calfskin on the bottom, a bright blue semi-gloss, large rectangular scale, cobalt-colored alligator leather to match the metallic dial. You can see there's some bolstering to give it thickness, as well as monotone stitching and a sheer cut side, so you can actually see the thickness of the leather used, and quite a bit is. The strap is in brand new condition, and you can see it's paired with a matching white gold folding clasp from Ulysse Nardin, which likes to remind you that it has existed since 1846. Taking a quick look at the case, you can see this is really like an old school case construction. First, we have lateral hallmarking, which is something you don't see on cases too often anymore. But you can also see that the way the welded lugs are attached, there's a very sharp break between case band and lug. And the way to achieve this is to build the case, build the lug, put a slot in the case, insert the lug, weld them together, and remove evidence of the weld by hand. It's a very laborious and time-consuming way to make a case, but it's also an artisanal and low-volume way that I think high horology enthusiasts would appreciate as much as the movement qualities of this watch. Ludwig Oxlin, the watchmaking genius at Ulysse Nardin, to be fair, one of the watchmaking geniuses there during the 90s, 2000s, and late 80s, was originally a clock restorer for the Vatican, and he came up with clever ways of designing calendar systems based on working on clock restoration, principally for clocks designed to calculate the vernal equinox. So what we have here is a bidirectional perpetual calendar system, and I'll demonstrate how this works. Very simple. Everything can adjust in sync. You can see there's a 24-hour hand outboard, and then we have local time at center. If I want to change the local time, I use the plus-minus system. And by the way, I can drive the date, but forward and backwards using that plus-minus system. Now, when I pull the crown to its intermediate position, I engage the setting mechanism, and you can see how I'm able to set the watch backwards into April and forward into May. No issues there. A big date system, so double-digit date display. We have the day, the date, the month, and we even have the year and the decade, and it will update itself. Now, this watch features superluminova, luminescence of both local and remote time zones. And the watch has a lovely metallic blue dial. It's got a little bit of a lacquer on top to give it some gloss, but it's principally a metallic shine with applique numerals and indices for an upscale look, and then that Rehaut doubling as the 24-hour scale for your second time zone outboard. The timepiece features a movement that is principally of UNs, though it's distantly Lemania based. Ulysse Nardin calls this the UN32. It's a bidirectional winder with a magic lever style pawl-based winding system. It has a 48-hour power reserve, 45 to 48 hours. It beats away at 8 beats per second. It is nicely finished with a white gold rotor that features several different finishes, plus a lacquered anchor insert. We can see Côte de Genève circular across the bridges, a rusticated finish inside the hollows of the rotor. There's anglage, admittedly machine applied, but handsomely so, on the bridges, engine turning on the base plate, and real fired blued screws. All of this inside a case that's 30 meters water resistant, and you can see through a skeletonization in the bridge just above the winding system that pawl-based magic lever mechanism. A very reliable and accurate movement with a lot of fun features. And this is one of the few perpetual calendars that has the ability to be manually adjusted through the quirk of the Gregorian calendar in the year 2100. When most calendars need to go back, perpetual calendars that is, need to go back to the factory for adjustment in the year 2100, you can just roll through the correction on this one with no resort to the factory in Laloc, Switzerland. It is future-proof. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing details.